mamas, my name's Michelle, and somebody asked me to show a process of how I'm pumping at work, so I thought I might do that for you guys. I am, just a little background, I'm a nurse anesthetist, but I do contract work, and I work in very fast-paced facilities. Sometimes I'm the only provider, so I don't really have the opportunity to get a break and pump. I literally need to set up super fast, and I've managed to create a process where I can set up in 3 minutes and I can take down in 4 minutes. I'm gonna pretend like I still have my pumps done. I just washed my hands. It's really important. Go ahead and wash your hands before you put in your pumps and before you take down your pumps. So I just didn't want to take out the pump on video. That's why I don't have them in right now. But I'm gonna take my cooler, bring it to my station. I'm gonna pull out my surface. This comes from a Sarah Wells bag, which I'm about to pull out as well. I take a paper towel that I use to dry my hands after washing. I just go ahead and put it on the station. And then I'm going to go ahead and unzip. Here's my Sarah Wells bag. It's empty right now because my pump parts are on the pump, but that will be where I store my, my used pump parts. And I take out of my cooler, which has ice bags in it, my mason jars. I like to use a large mason jar and a smaller one, and as you can see, I'm using the plastic tops, not the metal tops, because metal can rust, and I really like these plastic tops. I got them from Amazon. I don't know the brand, but they're great. So the reason I have two bottles right now is because the large one's going to be for the cold milk, and this would have been what I pumped most recently, and I needed to put it in the cooler to cool down and get to the same temperature as the other milk. So you don't want to add warm milk to cold milk. But now they're the same temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and take the tops off, and I'm going to go ahead and add that cold milk. And I'm going to put this back into the cooler. Okay, get it out of the way. Now we're going to pretend like I'm taking out those pumps. And actually something that I do, I use these pads. I wear them all day long to help catch any leakage. And when I put my pump in, I put that pad right over the front of the Elvie, and that helps to help catch any leakage that you might get from this button. Doesn't necessarily catch it all, but I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. So I put that on there, and so when I take it off, I go ahead and use this pad and I wipe down the front, because sometimes there's just a couple little drops there. So I wipe down the front, then I put it back in my broth. Okay, so pretend we did that. Same with the other one. Wipe. We put it here. Okay, put those back in my bra. I want to show you how easy it is, or how easy it should be, to release the bottle from the Elvie. It's just a click of this button. Okay, if it's not that easy, you should probably contact Elvie. I know people are having trouble with their buttons. I haven't had any of that misfortune. It should be really easy to release it. Okay, and what I like to do, I go ahead and put it down. I take this whole plastic part off and I pour directly from the bottle. Okay, I'll show you what other people might suggest doing. They might take, again, quick release. They might take just this blue spout and pour from this plastic spout, because it could be a little bit more precise, I guess. But as you can see, it was a little slower, and there's still a little bit of milk that gets left in when I do that, and so that's why I like to take it off and pour it all in. It's just a little bit, so it's not a big deal. If you're afraid of spilling, you should probably just go with that method, okay? And then what I do is I take this Sarah Wells bag. By the way, this station clips to the back of it. It's really great. These are machine washable too, so I really like them, and I think I paid 20 bucks for them. They're really great quality. But I go ahead and put my bottles in there. And then what I also do is to go ahead and get this out of the way so I don't spill it. I go ahead and put the top on the milk and put it into the cooler, okay? The next part is to take the flange out of the Elvie pump, and I go ahead at this point. You could do it either before you put the pump back in or at this point, and this is when I do it. I go ahead and wipe down this disc because it does get liquid on it, and I wipe down the plastic part too with that paper towel that I use to wash or to dry my hands after washing, okay? And so I put that back in. I haven't had to wipe that before putting the pump back together, so it stays pretty dry when I do that. Go ahead and take that out again. And I wipe. All right. Just keep it dry. people will tell you it kind of will make a funky sound if that part isn't dry. It also might affect your suction. So I put that all into the Sarah Wells bag, zip it up, fold it up, put it in the cooler, set my cooler up. And one more step before, I like to wipe the sensor part and any other parts down here that might have gotten a little bit of milk on them, because as we all know, these pumps do have a little bit of a leaking issue. It's not terrible though. And again, I still highly recommend this pump. So I go ahead and do a quick wipe, and I'll do a better clean later on at night when I get home. So you put your pumps where I guess you're storing it. I have a little bag that I keep next to my cooler, and I also keep all of that next to a socket where I can then plug in and charge the Elvie. And that's a necessary step because it's not going to last you all day. You might get 2 to 3 pumps out of it. So, and then we've got this bag or this station here that we fold in on itself to keep it clean, and you can put it into your cooler. Okay, so that is obviously I do it a lot quicker when I'm not talking, but that is the process of taking down the pump. So I'm going to also go through what I do when I put on the pump really quickly. So wash my hands. I go into the room, or maybe I'm doing it in a bathroom. Those are some of the places that I set up. I work in different locations all the time. Some locations I'm doing it on a bathroom counter. Some locations I'm doing it in an office. So I wash my hands and I don't touch anything, and I take a door stopper and shut the door and in the office, and I set up there. But I'm going to go ahead again and take out the station. I'm going to get my pump from wherever it is, and I'll put it down on the station. I go ahead and unzip the bag and take my Sarah Wells bag here, and I take out the parts. So I might go ahead and just take out these 2 parts first. I've already dried the disc. You might want to give it a little touch to make sure it's on tight. Pop that in. Go ahead and turn it on. Take my bottle, click it in. If it didn't click very good, I'll do it again. Click it in. And then I proceed to put the pump in. Now I will suggest, people will talk about how sometimes you can't really feel the suction, and that is true. I could talk about that in another video, but initially when you put that pump on, you go ahead and put your little pad over it. Initially, when you push start, you should start feeling suction, okay? And if you don't, then perhaps you don't have something correct. And we're talking about doing a really quick setup, so it's important that instead of waiting to see if it gets better, take it back out, release, and put that back on. Release this, touch your disc, make sure it's flat against, put that back in, and every single time if my suction doesn't start working quickly, by doing that, I get a good suction. So it's usually probably just you didn't connect things properly. And I highly recommend you do that right from the get-go just to save yourself some time. So yeah, put those in and pretend like I put them in, set them aside here, and then I put my little station away, fold my Sarah Wells bag, put it back in the cooler, keep it in the cooler even when there's no parts in, and then I walk and go. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about. Showed you these pads. I got them off Amazon. I don't know the brand. I highly recommend them. They're reusable. Obviously you can use pads that you throw away too. Those do tend to be a little bit better absorbers. And then you've seen ladies talk about doubling up. It is really important to get a good suction from the Elvie, that you have a really tight fitting bra. And how I've accomplished that is I use these I Love Sia bras, which are not super tight fitting. They are comfortable. You get the size that is recommended for you based on your normal bra size. Don't try to go a size up or a size down. The pumps fit really well in them. I don't even have to use the extenders, but that come with the Elvie. So these are on Amazon. There's a bunch of different brands too. And then I double up by using these nursing tanks that I get from Target. There's a bunch of different brands at Target too. This one happens to be an Auden, A-U-D-E-N. They're not all the same brand. I found different ones, but you want to get the one that has the pad inside. This is like sewn in. This is not a pad that you can remove. They are much tighter than in the chest area than the ones without. So I do highly recommend that you get the one with the pad. And yeah, and use different colors. As you can see, I've got that right now. I have a cream bra on, but the tank is black, and that just helps when you're doing things quickly to match the correct connectors to the correct apparel.